Hello, YouTube, and welcome to the TheRealCyberius live stream. I am supposed to be joined by PineappleMidrange, but maybe there was a miscommunication going on. Not exactly sure. But anyway, how's everybody doing? Not gonna lie, didn't plan on doing this solo, so I'm gonna have to wing it a little bit. Of course, we had some topics that we were going to discuss, but I didn't plan on doing them myself. Oh, wait a minute. Hello. Pineapple Midrange, can you hear me?
Hey, there we go. I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. What's up, man? You good? Say we are live, just so you know. I don't know what's happening.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Hey, there we go. Sorry about that.
Oh, no. Hey, that's all right, man. How's it going?
It's going well. How are you?
Doing good. Doing good. So shall we just jump right into this?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. So the first topic that I wanted to talk about today, and Pineapple Midrange and I were talking about this yesterday, is how would Dennis Rodman do in this modern era? And I have to admit, I wasn't thinking about it the way that I should have been. I was thinking about it strictly from Rodman's physical game. I wasn't even taking his mental game into consideration, which is stupid given that was such a huge part of his game. So Pineapple Midrange, why don't you tell the people what you were talking to me about yesterday and how you think Rodman would do in this modern era?
It's such a great topic. That's such a great thing to talk about. Well, I don't know. I mean, the specific question was sort of, who was gonna, how would Rodman deal with stuff and him fouling out and stuff. But what occurred to me about it was I just cannot imagine what happens in a world where Rodman has access to Twitter or Instagram or YouTube comments or any of that. Like, the difference I think between Rodman and players now is he wouldn't have a burner account. It would be directly from his account. I think he would go to town. I think he would, not with fans, I think he would be trolling other players. I think he would be getting under their skin, calling them names, joking about whatever's, going on in the media or whatever people are talking about on YouTube. I think he would be constantly poking everybody off the court, and then by the time you actually face him on the court, like, forget it. Then all of his stuff on the court just, I mean, I think he can just, wink at you and you'll just freak out and lose your game, lose your balance, throw off your game, and just be horrible.
I couldn't agree more. And I genuinely think I need to have my Rodman is my favorite player card revoked, that I didn't think of that, because that is 100% what he would do. He would be playing the mind games constantly, and it certainly wouldn't be a burner account. He would be going at you directly, and he would want you to know that it was him.
Yeah, I don't think he would vague post. I don't think he would like be subtle. Oh, what does it mean? Or I think he would be as direct as possible. Just whatever hurt your feelings, whatever picked at your insecurity, just anything to throw you off your game. I mean, I think he won most of those battles before the game started, even without social media.
I agree. I completely agree. And then his physical game on top of that, it's one of the things that you mentioned yesterday. He's smart enough that even if they were playing by the modern rules, he's not going to allow himself to foul out. However, he is going to let you know that he's there. He's going to throw some hard fouls at you, but he'll do it in an intelligent way. So he's going to let you know, oh no, I'm here. I will guard you. I will shut you down. But I can probably do it with my mind. I'm not even going to need to use my body, but you need to understand my body's here and I can use it.
I think so. I think it'd be like 3 or 4 fouls that are like strategic or accidentally, breaking a rule or getting too physical or something. Sure, he gets foul, maybe a flagrant,
Huh?
probably at some point. To actually stop your movement, stop your drive, stop your dunk, stop your rebound. I think 3 or 4 fouls would be that, and then 2 fouls would be his sort of stereotypical just wrap you up and be annoying foul.
Yeah.
Just to mess with your mind, just to get in your face, just to try to bait you into getting into his face. But
I can't think of a single modern era player that could handle the way that he would just basically wrap himself around you. Like him being the worm. I don't think there's a modern player that could handle that because he was incredibly strong, but he would also just put all of his weight on you. And he's just going to wear you out. If you're not properly conditioned, and the players today are not in comparison to the players in the 80s and 90s, he is going to break down your body.
I think
and there's
so.
nothing you can do to stop him.
I also think everybody's so scared of I guess this kind of gets to my part of it, but I think everybody's so scared of looking bad, getting posterized, looking bad on social media, or having like the wrong narrative, that I just cannot imagine a player like Rodman coming in and just picking at that so much, trying to make you look bad, trying to, basically get negative clips of you or throw you, out of control. I think almost every player in the league would fall for it. I think there's maybe like 2 or 3 that I think could maybe sort of stand up to him and deal with that in the ways that Shaq or Malone and stuff. But he got under those guys' skin too.
He did.
But still, but like you just imagine, I'm seeing it in the chat about he would make Lanetta 402 saying here he would make KD cry. Can you imagine? Can you imagine what he would do to a KD? Like, I feel like he'd be pointing at it all the like I was joking. I think he wouldn't even have to touch you. Like you
No.
imagine, LeBron James running back on transitions super early, like way before the shot even goes up. He's already at half court, that kind of stuff. I would imagine Rodman to grab the rebound and immediately start pointing down the court. You know what I mean? Like, hey, look, can he be back there? Is that okay?
Yep.
Is that all right? Without touching anybody, just to like draw attention to things like that. Or like calling Katie out for skipping tough assignments, or
Yeah.
or not playing defense or something, like mocking him, doing little mock defense things. I just imagine doing all of that without touching a single human being on the court. And I think everybody would freak out. I think that would be all the social media stuff. And I think that would make them, ironically, I think that would make them play harder. If you can't get away from him, if he's going to make you look bad for avoiding the problem, then you have no choice but to try to competitively beat the
That's true.
problem.
Yeah. You're going to have to step up, or you're just reaffirming everything that he said about you. So it's either look bad trying or look worse not trying at all.
Right. And trying to oh, I'm above that. I'm too diplomatic for that. I'm, trying to keep a nice image on social media. Like, not with Rodman, man. He's going to get under, none of these guys, the toughest guys to ever play basketball, could not just keep their cool around that man. Not if he's guarding you.
Well, and I was thinking about it today because yesterday I posted about those new LeBron shoes called the Hurt Feelings. I'm sorry, if Klay Thompson can hurt your feelings, Rodman is crushing your spirit.
I think so.
There's nothing that you could do about it because he's not going to go easy on you like Klay Thompson did. Klay Thompson didn't even call him a bitch. Like, I think he said he was soft, right? I can't even remember exactly what he said because it's not even noteworthy. But it's obviously noteworthy enough for them to make a shoe about it.
I think it's just I think it's just honestly the hurt feelings. When I first heard that, I honestly thought that was like a troll. I thought that was like a joke shoe or something.
I
Kind of like the
100% thought
posts
it
you
was a
had.
joke.
Yeah, I didn't think that was a real thing. It's funny. I thought it was a reference to Michael Beasley. I didn't think it was actually to the soft comment. Like, I didn't even remember that really happened.
No,
or that it had
it
anything.
wasn't noteworthy.
Yeah, I didn't even remember that happened. I didn't even remember. I don't, and I may have to go back and look, but I don't remember his performance particularly changing after that either.
No,
So, so I didn't understand. I thought it was a joke about Michael Beasley, because I remember that story. I remember about, uh, what was it him? I think it was him and a couple of the other guys. I think it was LeBron and a couple of the other guys making. You remember they made fun of Michael Beasley because he accidentally walked up to come on the court in his practice shorts.
yeah,
Didn't realize he put on the wrong shorts because,
yeah.
like, I think he had like a couple. I think it was his mom had just died, and I think like his cousin also I think passed away before that or right after that. But either way, he had a string of family tragedies like that. And it was right after his mom had passed, but he was trying to keep playing anyway and just distracted and in grief and stuff, and just had the wrong shorts on and stuff. So apparently LeBron and them were laughing at him. But I remember that story because that was noteworthy. Like, wow, that's messed up. Like, why
Right.
would you make fun of somebody who's like grieving their mom? And like, that's, I don't know, that's rough. But so I thought it was that. I thought it was like trolling for that. I thought it was like, about their treatment of Michael Beasley at that time, and somebody was just trolling him, suggesting or making a shoe about that for some reason. And then come to find out that yeah, someone called him soft, and so I don't know. He didn't really change his gameplay, but I guess. So I don't know. Is it just trying to copy? Maybe it's just trying to copy. That's when I took it personal kind of thing.
I guess. I originally saw the shoes on Sports and Fitness Rants because he was talking about them. And I genuinely thought it was a LeBron shoe parody like the ones that I've done.
That's what
That's
I thought. I actually
absolutely
thought it
what I
was
thought that it
yours.
was.
I thought it was yours. I thought you had made that.
And then, so then when I found out that it was real, I was like, okay, this has to be demonstrating a time that LeBron hurt someone's feelings, which I have no memory of. I don't think that's ever happened. But for them to make a moment out of when someone hurt his feelings and then to call them hurt feelings, wow, that's soft.
It is.
That is
I think so.
crazy.
The thing is, all the stories, I don't know. It just seems like that's my theory. I would guess that maybe it's just, another in a long line of trying to copy other people's like iconic things or
That's all
stuff
he
that just
does.
it is. I can't think of too many like rituals or sayings or jokes about it or whatever that are actually, were born from him, that were unique to him. Everything seems like it's taken from
Because I don't
somebody
think
else.
there's a single one. I mean, if you look at stealing his number, making Space Jam, chalk routine, like there's nothing. Like I would have even had more respect for him if he said, you know what, Jordan did Nike and made them that. I'm going to go to Adidas where he wanted to go and I'm going to make them a thing.
That would have been cool.
Like I would have respected that. I'd have been like, I'm going to go to where you wanted to go and I'm going to, I'm going to challenge you and I'm going to challenge your brand. But he didn't do that. He already went to Nike that Jordan already made into this galactic shoe empire, which I mean, I don't even necessarily think they are anymore. Like they still have a lot of money. They still sell shoes, but their shoes are not what they used to be.
No.
Which is really sad because I'm a shoe guy and I've bought a few pair of Nikes recently. And some of them I sent back because I'm like, this doesn't feel like quality. Like this isn't, I have Jordans that are 20 years old, 22 years old. They still look and feel brand new. And I'm not a guy that just lets my shoes sit on a shelf. I wear my shoes because they're meant to be worn because they're fucking shoes. But they still look good. They still feel good. I mean, not all Jordans are comfortable. Like we have to be honest. But like 3, 5s, 11s, all very comfortable shoes. But come on, man. You had to go to Nike, and then Nike gives him a lifetime contract. Jordan doesn't even have a lifetime contract, and he's made them the company that they are.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, I mean, those lifetime contracts, those didn't exist in Jordan's day. I mean,
No, they didn't.
Jordan's contract was insane for its time, and even
Oh,
that
for
wasn't
sure.
a, but even that wasn't a lifetime thing. That's a new thing, and it bothers me. It's one of those things that, I think Jordan himself actually talked about it a little bit. He mentioned part of it in terms of the teams, but it's also on the endorsement side. Uh, the idea of everybody having to sign these people, endorse these people, and with lifetime deals or signature deals or 10-year, 14-year deals before they actually step on on the court, before they actually do anything like in their rookie year or before their rookie year is just insane.
Yeah.
And a lot of that seems to have started, thankfully, it started going down a little bit. I think they've been burned enough times, but it's, so it doesn't start before your first game, but it still goes like in your second year or so,
Right.
or
Right.
or in the middle or towards the end of your first year. That's still crazy. Like that shouldn't start for 5 to 10 years at least. That's insane that you can do that. But they don't want to miss out. If they miss out on this guy and their competitor
Right.
gets that guy, then okay, so we have to bid early, and something like that is actually starting to happen in baseball, and we talked a little bit about that. It's starting to happen in what do you call it, in college football too. These people are getting picked up earlier and earlier and earlier on these massive mega million deals before they do anything.
Yeah.
So, and it's kind of one of the arguments I have. It's actually what I was working on. I was hoping to have it up before this thing, but that's something I was working on, sort of looking at some of those endorsements and how that incentivizes all sorts of bad behavior.
Yeah. A few people made some good comments here. King Speech, what's up, man? He
Yo,
said
what up, King
LeBron said
Speech?
he went to Nike so he could legally wear Jordans. I was gonna say I didn't know that. Woodage pointed out that Jordan gets 5% of the profit on everything with his logo on it. That's a shit ton of money. And Geloso said Nike makes $7 billion a year because of Michael Jordan. That's
Yep.
crazy.
So I'll take those. I guess I'll take them one at a time. First, King Speech, what's up, man? How are you? I don't know if you're aware, but used to be McZuggins. So I'm glad to see you. My apologies for New York at the moment.
Hopefully they can right the ship.
I hope so, at least for King Speech's sake.
Yeah.
But I didn't know that. I didn't know that at all. I actually didn't know that he went to Nike specifically so that he could wear Jordans. That's just, I don't know, man. It's just crazy to me.
It is.
Like I can't. I don't know. It's fine. It's whatever. I also like, there was an irony. I mean, I'm not super steeped in a lot of the shoe stuff. I mean, I look at some of the financials and the resale stuff
Right.
and that sort of side of it. But for me personally, like I find it interesting, sort of the economic side of it and what it represents for different people's brand value. For example, that like I think that I think the top four, is it top three? Maybe you can correct me on that. But I think the highest resale value on shoes right now on any of them is Kobe. There's like
Yeah.
three
Oh,
Kobe's, top three or top four. They're
dude,
all
they're
like,
so expensive. I only
yeah,
own 2 pairs, and it's because I can't fucking afford them.
yeah. So it's like Kobe's, then Jordans, and then everybody else, and then all the way down at the bottom.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know what that says. There was also something funny about it. I don't want to just bitch about, this kind of shit, this kind of
Sure.
stuff with shoes, but it was funny to me that, wasn't it like a week ago, 2 weeks ago, that Steph Curry put on his old LeBrons while he's like what do you call it, sneaker free agent,
Yeah.
and everybody thought he was trolling because LeBron James was sitting out, but you know he tried to say, and everybody tried to say, no, 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 it's in honor of, he's just wearing all these old ones, so he's just, and then what, like a week later, 2 weeks later, they drop this hurt feelings business.
Yup.
It's just like, wow, man, just that quick back to back. I don't know. One of them seems like a very classy move, and the other one does not.
Yeah. Oh, agreed. And lo and behold, the unclassy move Coming from LeBron, not a surprise.
Yeah, I don't know. It's weird. But I had growing up, I had two pairs of Jordans, and I remember my first one. Like my dad like blew like half his paycheck on that, and it was it was a big deal. That was like I didn't I wore them everywhere all of the time, and I tried really hard to like keep them clean. I was a kid, but I always tried to do all that, and eventually I wore them kind of into the dirt. Like I wore
Yeah.
them to everything. And so I don't know. So I find it funny then when like, the greatest thing in the history of sports, like, why are those on clearance? I've never seen a Jordan thing. Like, are you kidding me? Like,
That I mean, even the Jordan Flight series like is difficult to find on clearance or at Ross or TJ Maxx or any of those places because people still want them.
yeah. So, but anyway, I looked into that like maybe a couple months ago or so. I don't know if it's changed, but I remember that like the top 3 or top 4 were all Kobe's, and then it was a couple Jordans. I think AI actually had a moment where
I think
some of
so.
his were up there. Yeah, some of all the like and ones and stuff were up there.
I was gonna say Shaq's have done pretty well because he did that specific, like he wanted his
Yeah,
shoes to be more affordable.
yeah.
And they are, but even though like even some of those are expensive now, like the older ones. You can't just walk into anywhere and buy them. Like you're gonna drop a few $100s on some of his older, some of his older models with Reebok.
That's crazy, actually. That's really crazy.
It is.
Huh. That's actually really interesting. That's funny. I wonder if that's a thing because I know I was just it's in the video I'm posting today. Actually mentions a little bit about oh man, I don't want to get this wrong. I think it was I want to say it was Embiid that it was like it was like the highest paid for like big men's shoes. Like usually big men's shoes contracts don't go very well.
AOH just said the red circle isn't around my name on my channel to show that I'm live.
Oh, that's no good. What's up, AOH?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what's going on with that, but that's not cool.
Oh
Because
man.
otherwise, how are people gonna know? Nope,
Have,
it does not show. I
have
mean,
you
if you go
already
to my page, it does show like the thumbnail and it shows that I'm live, but yeah, it does not show the ring. Oh,
is YouTube putting you down already? Have you made it? Have you made it that big now?
I mean, I don't think so, but it's it's probably more of a glitch than them, trying to hold down my small ass channel.
I don't know, man. Apparently, I mean, I got a little notification as it came on. I see King Speech
Oh,
says
that's
he
good.
got it. Bootage
That's
says he sees it on his YouTube. All right, well, hopefully that's just a
Yeah, I mean, I don't see it on mine. Like I opened it in a second browser and it's not showing up. So yeah, I don't know. But it's crazy, man. It is crazy. Since we were talking about Rodman, I do have to shout out Rodman shoes. Those are crazy expensive, but I do have 2 pairs. And I actually don't wear them because if they get damaged, beyond my ability to repair, like I'm not going to get another pair.
right.
So those ones do sit on my shelf, but yeah, I always loved his shoes too.
Going back to the Rodman thing, it's funny too because I was thinking about it more after we talked the other day, but I would like to think that if Twitter and all that stuff had come out, if social media had started, let's say, I don't know, early 90s or late 80s or something, I'd like to think that most of those guys would probably keep fairly quiet. I think they would kind of take Jordan's view on that everybody buys shoes sort of thing and not want to alienate any fans, alienate anybody, and just kind of keep their head down and focus on it. I'd like to think that would be the approach because that was a lot of how they approached the media that did exist, the media ecosystem that did exist. That's how they were.
Yeah.
But I still think Rodman would be the only one who would see that as a weapon, who would see that as a way to get into everybody's heads
I think
even
you
more
would.
than he did. So as much as I don't like
Absolutely.
players, getting into stuff on social media or using stuff, if they're going to, man, do I wish someone would take that sort of Rodman view on it and just troll everybody, drive at everybody, try to embarrass them, put them in dilemmas where you have to compete or you're going to look worse. I just think that would be great.
I think it would be a viable tactic because all the players pay attention to it because they constantly talk about things that happen on social media, on narratives that are going on social media, on things that are being said. And, like LeBron saying, oh, I don't care about podcasts or whatever. Well, obviously you do because you constantly address the shit that's going on them. So it could absolutely be weaponized. And again, like I wish that as a professional athlete, you like during the season, you're not allowed to use that. I kind of wish that was the way. You're not allowed to do podcasts. You're not allowed to do anything outside of playing the fucking game you're paid millions of dollars to play. However, since that's not the rule, take advantage of it. Use that tool. Get up in their head, especially with how soft and sensitive all of them are. Use it to your advantage, and it would work.
Yeah, for the most part, all of them are trying to make. It seems like everyone who gets involved in that, all the players that get involved in that, are trying to make sort of advertiser-friendly, brand-safe content, and so they have
Yeah.
the huge, hot takes and all that, but they avoid actually getting personal with anybody. And it's just, I just wish one would have the balls to just, nope, I'm gonna get personal with everybody, and I'm not gonna be. There's not gonna be any brand safety here. No ad revenue is gonna come my way at all. I'm just gonna use this to tear everybody down. Because, like, I mean, Rodman stopped being, brand safe or brand neutral or any of that. He stopped that in, like, I don't know, 92, and by 91
Yeah.
or so, 92, before he's even on the, before he goes to the Spurs, he's already
Yeah.
too toxic for most brands. But I think Rodman Rolls. I think it's a lane that somebody should explore because I bet you they could actually make a killing. Like, imagine who, like, okay, I think about it this way: who would like if the world today was mapped onto, let's say, 1992, who would still sponsor Rodman? Who wouldn't be scared of that sort of brand that he had, the bad boy image and Madonna and strip clubs and all that, and gambling and
Right.
cigars?
Right.
Who would? And all I think is gambling companies, cryptocurrency. You know
Yep.
what I mean? Like, and not like the, DraftKings or whatever, but I mean like Slate and, Kick.com and all, like those are the
Yes.
brands that I would imagine would go for it.
And especially crypto, because crypto doesn't give a fuck.
Right. So you just imagine Rodman, would build a whole brand around that where he would just be the most needling, annoying, trolly, get in your head guy ever, still make a ton of money and, throw everybody off their game before the game starts.
I
Like,
would love to see it. I mean, and not to put myself anywhere on the fucking level of Rodman, but he is my favorite player for a reason. And when I started this channel, that was my mindset. I thought to myself, and I've even accepted the fact now, I'm never going to make money off of this channel. Even when I get monetized, there's going to be a way that is just never going to happen. And I've accepted that. I'm okay with it. I don't have a problem with it. It's not why I'm doing it, but it's why in every video I go at it 100%. I know that I'm going to offend people. I know I'm going to bother people, and I don't give a fuck. And I just want somebody in a position of, I don't know, dominance, a position of power, a position of like viewership to just do the same. Like, I'm nobody. I have 800 subscribers. Like, very few people see my content or my videos. And why would anybody respect anything that I have to say? I want somebody that does have that respect to do the same thing. Like,
I think there
wish
are.
Rodman
I
would do
mean,
it now.
I think there are several of them, but I can't imagine. I don't know. I don't know what YouTube would do if someone like Rodman suddenly showed up and started making videos with millions of views, just attacking everybody left and right. Like,
I'd
I
like
don't
to
know if
see
YouTube
it.
would shut that down
No,
or
I think they probably would.
I think so. But imagine like he starts like a kick stream or something and just starts
Yeah.
going in on everybody.
I don't even necessarily know how. Oh, yeah. So Angry Old Hoops just said my original motivation was the same. And yeah, I hear you. It's you, Angry Old Hoops, you were a motivator for me to do that because it made me realize there is somebody out there who can say the things that I want to say, who can say fuck and isn't afraid of, any consequences, who can call people out. So yeah, you're a huge influence on me doing this and doing it the way that I do it because it was nice to see it can be done that way. There is a modicum of success that can be had with that, which I mean, I think you started AOH before you could be monetized and say fuck on YouTube. Because from my understanding, that just became a thing last year. And I don't know. So respect to you, AOH, because you did it before I did.
Well, I had the sort of the opposite thing. I never considered starting anything. Actually, AOH, while you're here, you should know. The first video that I ever commented on your thing was actually my first ever YouTube comment, period. I never commented on a YouTube video. I don't engage. I don't talk to anybody on social media. I don't deal with it. I was there for Facebook's launch. I had the, college email account, tried it for like 6 months, didn't like it, and I have made a point to not have any personal social media of any kind. I hate it. But just I don't know. It was so nice to see that there were actually people and creators who gave a shit about any of this. Like I would see the stuff on the NBA, I would see the, House of Highlights channels and, all that kind of just junk and just glazing this crap and trying to sell me something that's obviously not true. These fake goat talks and all this bullshit and just the hamming of it, just the over exaggerated chalk thing it's just, and everybody gets ready to take the picture. Like, what is this? Like, what is this circus of garbage? It's unoriginal, it's parody. It just feels like something out of WWE. It's like, I don't even know. It's like if WWE was not its own entertainment product, but if WWE was trying to masquerade as like, Olympic wrestling or something,
Yeah.
and then trying to tell me that it's that level and it's the evolution of real wrestling or something. And it's not. But I don't know. But I didn't think anybody cared. I honestly didn't think anybody cared because, like, I don't know, people still watch it. It's still there, and I don't know. I wasn't connected on all that stuff, but seeing just one channel that was just constantly like, this is bullshit, this is bullshit, this is bullshit, this is lies, and just showing it one play at a time, one step at a time, just look how much lies. And I don't know. So anyway,
There
that
was
got me to comment. That got me to sort of join the community over there.
one of the things about the whole like him copying the chalk routine that makes me laugh is he missed the point.
Yeah.
Jordan was chalking his hands, and then it just became like a fucking running gag between him and the commentators, and them breaking out the fucking umbrellas and putting on the fucking medical masks, and like it became a joke. It wasn't a spectacle. It wasn't self-aggrandizing. It wasn't making this huge dramatic gesture of, hey, look at me. It was, I want to chalk my hands, and hey, look, now we have this running thing with the commentators that's funny.
Yeah. And
What
you look at all the
fuck are you doing making it a spectacle? It's not a spectacle.
But you look at the images of that and you look at the video of that, there's a reason that it's like far away angles and, from off to the side, and everybody's kind of having a good time, and it's a small. The reason is because nobody prepared for it. Nobody got in there. It wasn't a thing. And nobody, like, it's just it was just a little tiny thing, like you said, but there wasn't like a crowd of photographers. Jordan didn't wait for the media to like gather around
No.
him before doing, like, you didn't have to have a towel boy nearby for this. Like,
Well,
it's
just like
so
AOH said,
ridiculous.
LeBron's chalk toss is about getting worship. That's exactly
Yeah.
what it's about. Here, let me give you this opportunity to take my picture. I don't even know if Jordan realized that people were taking fucking pictures, or that it was a personal gag with the commentators. It was his way of acknowledging them, and like it was having fun. It wasn't it absolutely disgusts me because he turned it into something that, quite frankly, I always enjoyed, because it was just a running gag, and he made it into something fucking pompous.
Yeah. Also, I should point out that he didn't have to do it all fucking game. I mean, you can't find
No.
a single game of Jordan where he's just spending every 5 seconds wiping his hands, chalking his hands, like rubbing his shirt. Like, I don't know. Do you think the amount of chalk that you start with would be enough? It's like a whole chalk bag at the beginning, and then 30 seconds in, we need more. I don't know. So I don't know what that's about, but
Now I don't know.
I mean, I don't know. I think I have the same theories that everybody else has about what that's about,
So
that's
King's
fine.
Speech actually posed an interesting question. Do any of us remember the point back when we all liked and hoped LeBron would be the next Jordan, and then remember the point where we lost all respect for him?
I didn't take it serious. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I didn't watch the NBA back then. I didn't start watching again until 2020. My exposure to him was in 2020, and in the very first game that I watched, he flopped 3 times. So I've never had respect for him because I didn't see anything of him before he was already like an unhinged caricature of a player. So I never had any respect for him. So Pineapple Midrange, go ahead and say what you were going to say.
I remember, and again, this could be faulty memory. It's been some number of years, but I remember at that time that there was a lot of potential next Jordans at that time. Like Kobe was the next Jordan almost immediately. Kobe
Yeah.
was the next Jordan. And then he starts having, his issues in Colorado and the court case and all that. So then it was like open season. I remember T-Mac was supposed to be the next Jordan.
Yeah.
Even before Jordan actually retired, there was talk of who was going to be the next Jordan. Penny was in the conversation, which I was excited about. I lived in Orlando and I went to a lot of the, the Magic games and stuff. But there was a lot of next Jordan talk. Like LeBron wasn't uniquely the next Jordan or the chosen one or any of that. Like lots of guys had been the chosen one. Lots of guys were pushed as potentially they were trying to find a new singular face to sort of rally everybody around like Jordan. And none of them really held up. I think, even LeBron, I don't think held up. They tried with all their media stuff, but most of the attention was not on him until far later.
Right.
It wasn't like he came in and then his rookie year, everybody was, like fans were like, oh, this is it. This is clearly like, no, he was one of like 7 guys that were all pitched as the next Jordan.
So like I said, I wasn't watching at that time. Was Carmelo a part of that conversation? Because like I know that LeBron.
Yeah, there was could he be the next?
Rookie of
Yeah,
the year from him.
absolutely. There was could he be the next Jordan? Could he be that? And a lot of these guys were actually pitched as competing with with LeBron James for that.
Right.
Or sort of who was going to turn out to be. Which is funny because he didn't win in those years, and yet, I don't know, he kept. That gets into all the other stuff, but he built the media. He started his media stuff. Before anybody else. So eventually you have to say that it's him, or else he cuts you off from that entire media pipeline, which seems to be what everybody over there is scared of. But yeah, no, absolutely. I totally remember that. And I totally remember checking that out. I remember watching some of that and saying, oh, is this a thing? And like, no, it wasn't particularly, I mean, it was good, but it wasn't, wasn't that level. And other guys were equally as good, and Kobe was, that was also still an argument. There was a whole argument about separating art from artist with Kobe on whether or not, the stuff in Colorado would even affect his legacy at all. There was a camp that didn't care. It's all about what's on the court. There was a camp that cared, that said, no, it doesn't matter what's on the court. This would be disqualifying to him. So,
Yeah.
nothing about that was actually in my memory. I could be remembering it wrong. It's been, I don't know, 23 years, I guess, 20 something years
Right.
since then. But I don't remember that being a certainty of anything at that time. I remember there being like 6 names. So, I don't know. That's kind of how I see it. Oh yeah, Grant Hill, that's true. I remember actually Grant Hill, yeah. He was I don't know if he was ever pitched to be the next Jordan, but he was supposed to have his big run, and we actually Magic Orlando invested enormously in that, and never worked out. And frankly, neither did the Magic. I think they have like a 44 or 47% win rate since then. So never really
Yeah.
worked out for us either.
I mean, I didn't even want to get on talking about LeBron at all, but it's kind of naturally gone in that direction. But like, just like his thing with the chalk of him making it about himself. Like, so there's the whole Sports Illustrated with, him being called the chosen one, which you can't control what the media is going to do, especially the fucking media hype train now. Like, they're just going to go off on whatever they go off, and that's fine. Let them. Nobody made him tattoo chosen one on his fucking back. Like, you didn't have to run with that. You could have just said, you know what? Hey, that's great. I appreciate it. We'll see what I can do. But he's incapable of doing that. Any positive light that anyone shines on him, he just has to take it to the absolute extreme. I mean, I personally find it fucking embarrassing to have chosen one tattooed on my back. That would be disgusting to me. But I mean, for him, he obviously is, he's celebrated for it. Like, that's certainly a choice. I don't think it's a good one, but
I mean, there's just no universe that you can imagine that, like, in 1994 or 1995, Jordan tattooing goat across his chest or something. Like,
no.
That kind of behavior, that kind of stuff, that kind of self-aggrandizement was just unheard of. Just unheard of. Like, not just not done, like unheard. Like, I don't think it occurred to anybody to try to do something like that. But I don't know.
And through anyone that's been in the GOAT conversation, like, whether they considered themselves the GOAT or not, whether other people considered them the GOAT or not, just being mentioned in that conversation, like, I've never heard Brady say he was the greatest of all time, or, tattooing fucking 7 Super Bowl rings on himself. Or, like you said, Jordan tattooing GOAT on himself, or, Gretzky having, whatever. It doesn't happen. How does it happen now? Like, what's happened that now not only do people do it, but they're celebrated for doing it. Like, that would have been if Jordan had done that in the 90s, we would not be reflecting on him as we do now. We would think, holy fuck, that was embarrassing. I cannot believe he did that. I don't even care what he did on the court anymore. That was disgusting, abhorrent behavior.
Yeah, I mean, just imagining, Jordan revealing on social media, some giant tattoo on his back of Black Jesus walking on air. Like, it just would have been so ridiculous. Like, it's just so outlandishly ridiculous, and so I don't know. But I'm guessing, trying to get as much hype as possible, something to talk about, doing, sort of ridiculous juvenile stuff. Trying to keep the spotlight, keep as much attention on you, for better or worse, while you try to build up your own brand. I think that's really what started, was this idea of personal brands, like where me as an
really is the
individual.
downfall.
Yeah,
for sure.
And he knew. I mean, he knew, and to his credit, he was very smart to see that, or whoever told him about it, to listen to whoever told him about it. He started what would eventually become Spring Hill really early on. It was not, that Mav Carter came over and they started, Spring Hill together with this idea of making it a giant thing, and it got investors immediately. He started a small little media company, little production company with Mav. What was it? I think it was, I want to say it was like 2006 or 2007 he started that. So I don't know if that's
Yeah.
Mav's, great foresight, but that's, that was the difference. And then Katie followed, by the way. Katie followed with his little his boardroom thing. He's following the same model too. He's doing exactly
Wow.
the same thing. Yeah, he's got his own little media company. They're all making the same kinds of moves, trying to follow the same kind of model. And it's just, I mean, that's my whole thesis, is that these kinds of things incentivize all of the crappy things,
Right.
because it is. I think it's garbage. It's gross, and I think it's disingenuous. It's inauthentic. It's complete. I don't know. It's just not how. It's not how I think an adult acts in the world, like in the real
No.
world. Like, you would never go do that in your
No.
neighborhood. You would never go
No.
do that at the store. You would never go do that, at church or with your family, or, like, just imagining showing up to like my grandmother's house with a giant tattoo of myself being the chosen one. Like, like the beating I would receive, even as an adult, would just be like, what is wrong with you? I feel like, I don't know.
No, well, no, I agree. I think any family with any level of self-respect, if you walked into your family reunion with that, you are going to get clowned hard. Everyone, your grandma's going to be going at you like, oh, you think you're the chosen one? Let me knock some sense into you. Like,
Yeah.
it's not going to go well for you.
No, but I think that's what the response would be, right? Like, it would be, oh, grandma, you don't understand. This is business. This is for business. This is for I have to do this for my work. Kind of like, that's the only thing you can possibly say.
I guess. I mean, even then, like, I still think my grandma's going to slap the hell out of me, regardless of whatever, justification I have for it. She can be like, well, you look stupid.
Yeah, probably. But my point is
I
that I
don't
think
know.
I think it's fake.
Well, it is pretty simple.
It's just like everything else. It's fake, But you know what? To his credit, I'll give him that, though. What we were just talking about, that's original. That is original.
Yes.
I joke that all of his stuff is not original, that it's copied from so many other players, and mostly from Michael Jordan, but also from Kobe and what do you call it? And some of the older guys, Dr. J and stuff. Was it Moses Malone? Kind of went after, tried to hilariously and horribly try to give the same kinds of media conversations that Moses Malone did about some of the same issues.
Yeah.
Whereas Moses Malone sounded incredibly passionate and intelligent and interesting
Yes.
and made a really good point. LeBron didn't. He just looked
No,
stupid.
he never does. As soon as he opens his mouth, you're like, you didn't get past 6th grade, did you?
But you got me there. Tattooing the chosen one, that is original. Nobody has ever tried to do that.
That's a fair point. I mean, I guess you have to give credit where it's due, because I can't think of another individual that self-aggrandized and permanent ink on their body.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you
Can't think of it.
can maybe count some of Rodman's, but even there, he's just trolling, and he already had 100 tattoos anyway.
Well, right. It does, I don't know. I mean, again, we're trying to make logic out of something that has none. So,
well, I mean, I think it does have logic. I think if you're trying to maximize your own image, if you're trying to maximize your own sort of cult worship, if you're trying to, appeal to people like that who like things like that, then that totally makes sense.
yeah.
I mean, if that's what you're trying to do, we just assume that no human being, no like rational, well-adjusted adult would ever try to do such a thing. But if you assume that he is, then suddenly all that behavior adds up. Suddenly that all makes sense.
It's true. Well, let's transition to your topic, and let's touch on that. So, if you want to go ahead and preface that or introduce it, or
Sure.
however you want to do it, go ahead.
Wow, I don't know if it's necessarily my topic. I just thought it might be fun to follow up on your Jokic video and all that chatter that's going around.
So yeah, do you have? Because I was talking about it with my brother after I had posted the video. And so what? Jokic has been in the league for 10 years now, 11 years now.
Mm-hmm.
So how did he go from almost complete obscurity to MVP to now worshipped at almost the same level of LeBron? I mean, do you have any insight into that?
I mean, as far as from the media point of view, from the fan base point of view, I'm honestly, actually, we'll just start there. From the fan base point of view, I'm completely stumped. Like
Right. Right.
I have actually no intelligent argument whatsoever for why the fan base would flip from LeBron to Jokic, or that people who, had these criticisms of LeBron and the media circus surrounding LeBron and the deals being made and all that stuff, to suddenly be fine with all of the same exact, limitations and critiques of. I cannot explain why. I don't even have a clue why there would be that 180 flip. It makes
Right.
no sense to me in any
It
way.
doesn't.
I cannot understand that whatsoever. At all. But from the league's perspective, from a media perspective, I think that totally makes sense. I think absolutely they would push him and hype him up as much as possible, and I try to keep some discourse around him for the same reason that I think they keep discourse around Luca and Wemby and all the others. I think that makes sense. I think they're, they've been talked about it before. They're gearing up for NBA Europe. They're trying to make that
Right.
a big thing. They've, been on that road for the last 2-3 years now. The
Yeah.
first bids just closed this year for the actual franchises themselves, for investors and stuff to get in on the franchises, and they're hoping to have first tip off. I want to say it was I think it's 2027 to 28 is when they're hoping to have the first tip off. I don't think that's going to actually work out. I think it's going to be in 2028, probably. But
Right.
regardless, so it makes sense that all of this, I think they've been seeding it for the last couple of years of increasing the conversation about, our European players, taking American players' lunch, trying to lean into this sort of mock rivalry that none of the players seem to care about, but they still talk about it anyway.
Right.
Um, and really pushing as many sort of European faces of the league as they can. They're grossly hyped. I mean, they're just ridiculously hyped abroad more than they are here, which is, surprising considering how much they're hyped here. But
Yeah.
even the new All-Star game, you know what I mean? Like they could have gone with any format in the universe. They decided to make like a Euro Stars thing, which I don't even think makes a whole lot of sense and will really mess up. That's a whole topic in and of itself, but that's going to really mess up All-Star sort of counts in the future when people, compare players, right? Like, well, he's a 7-time All-Star versus he's a 3-time All-Star or stuff like that. It's like, well, yeah, but there was a much smaller pool of European players that could make the European team on the All-Stars.
For sure.
So would he have made, the other two, who know? And so there's going to be this caveat now for, I guess, the rest of time over, who's actually the better All-Star, which is going to be weird. But either way, the point is that they've been, they keep adding more Europe versus America, more European hype, trying to build more attention on Europe. And the valuations of those European NBA teams sort of bids keeps going up. So I think that makes sense. I think they're trying to push as much European
For
as
sure.
possible.
For
I
sure.
think it doesn't matter what Luka does. It doesn't matter what Jokic does. Like unless there's some major scandal with any of the European players, I expect to see them on the front page of everything
Yeah.
for the next probably 3 years at least, until they can establish a good fan base for NBA Europe and try to get domestic viewers to watch there. And then I assume they'll combine the two metrics and say, here's how many people watched the NBA without specifying how many watched NBA America and how many watched NBA Europe. They'll just say it's
Yeah.
all people watching NBA, period. So that would be my speculation. So that's where I think a lot of the league hype and the media hype is coming from for that. but the arguments that are coming out of sort of the fan base about it are insane to me. Like, are completely insane to me. I don't. It's even more insane than what the media says about it. It just doesn't. It just doesn't
It
add
is.
up. It doesn't make any sense.
No, absolutely. I mean, like I said, like you said, they literally 180'd. They went from having all of these exact issues with LeBron to now defending all of these exact same issues with Jokic.
Yeah,
They're the exact same narratives, the exact same lies, the exact same excuses. How does that happen?
And in such a short time, like, that's the crazy thing. Like, I don't remember any of these arguments being made. What was it, like 3 years ago? I don't remember a lot of these arguments being made, even on his, even when the Nuggets won the championship.
No,
Like, this is
not at
all
all.
recent. I'm just like, what is the cat? Like, where did this come from all of a sudden? So I don't know. It could also be, I mean, maybe, maybe it's the same people. Maybe it's sort of, the LeBron fanboys, that's over. Maybe they're, maybe this is like their transition to, we need a new, we need a new thing.
Yeah, like a new figurehead for their cult.
Yeah, well, because he's the best, whatever, the greatest, what did they try to say? He's a better pure scorer than Jordan, or a better scorer than
Yeah,
Jordan.
a better scorer than a better offensive player than. So it was Dan Lebitard, in case any of you aren't familiar, that just went. I mean, and he went. He's like, I'm saying it. It's fact. It's true. There's no disputing it. Jokic is the greatest offensive player that's ever been. What?
I mean,
Even if you had never, ever, if you only started watching the NBA in 2015, I still don't think that you could say that. I mean, like I pointed out in my video, they didn't say Kobe, they didn't say Dominique, they didn't say Reggie Miller. They went straight to fucking Michael Jordan. He's a better offensive player than Michael Jordan.
yeah.
How do you make that leap? Like, okay, like, whatever. King Priest said, "Don't let Scap hear y'all." Dude, he has become incredibly unhinged. I watched his channel for years and I unsubscribed. I do not watch his content anymore because he is, I don't know, prophet in their cult, like whatever. He's got to be a disciple or something because he's leading them. Like, he helps facilitate that. I just don't get it. I mean, if he didn't make videos on Jokic, I'd probably still enjoy his content. I just can't handle the Jokic insanity because he's absolutely one of those people that used to say negatively all of those things about LeBron, and then he says all of them positively about Jokic. Like, what? That's not being consistent. That's just changing his own narrative. Like, he always likes to talk about, narratives. You're a part of this narrative. It's the same shit, just based on a different individual. I just don't get it.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen Scap a few times. I'm fairly neutral on Scap, or his content in general. I remember I watched a few of his because he came on AOH and Sports and Fitness Rance's lives, I think, a couple times, and
Yeah.
I think he had great points about Kobe. I think he had great points about Jordan and great points about LeBron, and I don't know, seemed like an all right dude. And then, I've seen a few of his videos from time to time. He kind of goes into some layers or some arguments that I just, aren't of particular interest to me. But, that's not to say that it's bad content or anything. It's just not usually what I watch when I turn on YouTube and watch something. But I did, after hearing all this stuff, hearing some of the chatter and stuff, I went to go check it out myself. I'm like, well, it can't be like that. Let me go check this out. And then I watched maybe 2 or 3 videos, and I don't even think I made it through the third one. I was just like, what is this? What happened? Wait a minute. Like, this is not what I remember the content being like. And
It's
then
not.
the comment section was wild. And I was just, oh my God. Okay. But so I don't know. I don't know if that's unique over there or if that's something that's happening across sort of the NBA YouTube stuff, if that's how everybody else's conversations are going about it. But I mean, I don't know. It's like a reverse Kendrick Perkins. Like
It is.
it's weird. It's like, I don't know, stoking a lot of like racial stuff, bringing like ethnicities into it and all this. And, you know, the media's keeping him down because he's white and stuff. Like, what? It's like, wait a minute. I thought this stuff was, you know, I don't know. It's just, you know, and it's not an invitation for everybody to, I don't want to descend into a
Right.
race thing, but I do want to just point out, I had mentioned it to Sports and Fitness Rants that, you know, I'm working on a thing about the MVP voting,
Yeah.
and sort of the structure of that, how that actually works. And there's some really interesting things there, by the way, some really interesting sort of patterns and you know, the level of manufacturing that goes into this, that goes into the MVP conversation. But regardless, the point is, so if everybody remembers, it was 2023 that Kendrick Perkins was trying to make it about race in the first place, and it was how the MVP voting pool was racist in favor of Jokic. That was 3 years ago, and there was, you know, that big debate about all that stuff. Well, it's
Right.
74% of the voters in 23 are the voters this year. So I don't know. So according to, so I don't know who to believe. You know what I mean? Like, according to Kendrick Perkins, it was about race the other way, and then 3 years later, according to SCAP, it's the same fucking group of voters is now racist. Like, they completely changed their worldview and now they're racist the other way after just 3 years. Like, it's all so ridiculous that it's
Right.
just, clearly this has nothing to do with anything other than basketball. And when it comes to the basketball part of it, I don't care what advanced metrics or what, you know, well, you know, technically his plus minus is this and that. Like, you can't just go straight to Jordan out of nowhere with no additional thing having happened. Like,
Right.
he's the same player that he was 3 years ago. Like, I don't know. How do you suddenly go? So 3 years ago, he wasn't the best, whatever, the best scorer, you know, better than Jordan. He's the greatest scorer of all time. And then a few years later, he is now, and everybody's holding him down for a whole bunch of reasons that have nothing to do with basketball. Like, there's no universe. I don't know how the discourse shifted so quickly and so nonsensically. I don't know where that's coming from or who's making it up or why.
Don't know. I mean, you can't make sense of it.
And also, where did and beyond Jokic, though, the other part that kind of gets me about it, though, is because I watched that finals. That's one of the few finals that I've watched in the last 10 years. I watched that final. Where did
Yeah.
all the Murray hate come from? That's the other side of it. Is, when did everybody decide that Murray was shit and garbage and is a loser and, you know, Jokic has to carry him and all that? Like, I remember that was like the greatest duo in sports. That was the greatest duo in the league. This is, you
Yeah.
know, everybody must watch. Can Jokic and Murray do stuff and everything, you know, and Murray was killing it. Murray was doing fantastically. And everybody was super concerned about, you know, when he got injured, right? What are they going to do without Murray? They're so screwed. Do they have any chance because Murray's sitting out? I don't know if they have any chance. Now, suddenly it's, who cares about Murray? Now, like, Murray has no effect on their ability to win a game, no ability
Yeah.
to win a series. Like, who cares about Murray? And it's like, it's only been 3 years. Did something horrible happen? Like, is he crippled now? Like, what happened? Why would Murray suddenly not matter? But 3 years ago, if Murray's not playing, they have no chance whatsoever. Now they're better off just getting Murray, like kicking Murray out of the league. Like, like
I
you
don't
know,
I don't know
subbing a
where
fan,
that
he would do
came
better than
from,
Murray. I don't know.
but I feel like, and I mean, I don't like to make assumptions or anything, but Scap has done a number of videos on that, of talking about how Jokic has no help,
Yeah,
how, you know, Murray has never been an all-star. and how he's basically being carried. And I'm like, I don't watch a lot of the modern era. I really don't. I'm always going to be transparent about that. So when I'm making assertions about it, it's off of clips and moments because I don't watch full games. I just can't do it. But in the last game that the Nuggets played against the Timberwolves, Murray outscored Jokic. So he's obviously not that much of a fucking bum. Like I don't understand where that narrative has come from, and certainly how it spread like wildfire.
Well, I just don't know how it flipped and so quickly. Because if it's to be believed, then everybody was lying 3 years ago, or everybody's lying now. Like one of those two things has to, like, you can't, unless he had some massive decline that I'm not aware of, but I feel like that would be the front page of, everything. That would be everybody's thumbnail. That would be the biggest story, I think, ever. If they were a championship team and they won and Murray did a great job and then something happened and now they're absolute garbage, fall from grace, fall from the top, massive drama. You would think something like that would have to happen for in 3 years for it to go from a championship duo, perennial all-star. This guy's going to be, one of the biggest things in the league, to he's worthless, he's useless, he's getting carried, and nothing really changed.
No, if anything, the narrative that I've seen, well, and it's not even a narrative, it's just the fucking reality, is Jokic is the one that's going out sad. On so many channels that I've seen, they're talking about like he is the collapse of the Nuggets. It's not Murray. It's not I can't remember anybody's fucking names because I don't pay attention enough. But no, nobody's throwing Murray under the bus. Everybody's, blaming Jokic. So how great can he be? And I don't even necessarily want to talk about his greatness. I don't know and I don't care. But if he's the one that's sabotaging his team, okay. I mean, does it matter really? I guess not.
I guess
JXY,
not. I mean,
what's up?
I don't know enough about what's going on internally over there to speculate on that.
No,
but
I don't know either.
But I'm not even really that interested. Honestly, I'm more fascinated by how quickly the narrative has turned, how quickly these guys get thrown under the bus, how quickly and it affects them. It affects them enormously. You know what I mean? Like Jamal Murray's brand value is going to tank. You know what I mean? Anyone who shares his work ethic, anyone who shares his discipline, that becomes sort of a disincentive to do it that way. You're going to want to try to protect yourself or stay away from, different teams or different coaches for this reason. Like, it's no good. That has a wider impact on more players and more sort of player types than just these specific five.
Absolutely.
I think that's bad. I think it's corrosive. I think that's a detriment to the league. I think that's a detriment to basketball. Like, I think everybody needs to chill out. And I thought that's the part that bothers me. I thought we just went through this. I thought, like, how many years did it take? Like, we just wrapped this up. I thought we had all kind of, the majority had finally settled on, this is bad. It's bad for basketball. It's bad for everything. These media lies, the hype, the fake hype, the narratives, all this stuff has got to go. It's all garbage. I thought we had just finally, made real kind of progress, started to move on from it. And now it's all the same people are now starting the same thing, but with Jokic.
I mean, I don't know how that happens.
I don't know either.
And I thought that there had been progress made as far as, starting to move past that, but people do what people do. People always resort to their default setting, and that's been the default setting for 2 decades, more than 2 decades now. So if you can't talk about the excellent play on the court, which, I mean, I just think you can't. Like, there are moments, but like the one thing that I always like to say, like, moments of great basketball doesn't make basketball. It's not steady, consistent, great play across the league. So when you don't have that, It's kind of like you and I had talked about before. In the 80s and 90s, the game was so good on the court that none of this shit ever came up. No one talked about it and no one cared. But with the decline of the product on the court, there has to be other interesting things to talk about, because otherwise most people are just tuning out. Like, they're all silent quitting on it. They're not saying, oh, most people aren't saying, oh, the league is garbage, I'm going to stop watching. They just stop watching. There's no, exit interview. There's no one saying vocally or expressing their displeasure, because most people don't have a platform to do it. They just stop watching. They speak with their actions. And the ratings are clear indicators of that.
Yeah.
So
I think we talked about that last time. And now they're trying to put out like these fake ratings, these really weird,
yes,
useless metrics. I find that so funny.
Nothing.
I find it absolutely hysterical.
Yeah, like you had pointed out, they're completely fabricated and no one else uses them except for the NBA to try to make themselves look like they're more popular than they actually are.
Yeah. I mean, if it were true, that would have been the biggest story probably in sports. That would have been
without question.
It's so outlandish that I can't believe they even posted that they even talked about. And for anybody who doesn't know what we're talking about, sorry, that's rude of me. The NBA put out sort of an official post on their YouTube and Instagram and all that thing, talking about how they have I think it was like a 38%, it was somewhere between 30 and 40% increased views, and the wording matters, increased views, sort of across all platforms, and implying that viewership is up, that more people are watching games. And it's how many people watched games this year so far, like regular season and into the playoffs. And it was like 170 million people is what they went with. And what's funny about that language is you can't say viewership, you have to say views, because what that is that's a stat. It's known as CUME. It's CUME, which y'all can go look up anytime. But it's the cumulative unique viewers. It's and the way you get counted in that is if you watch 1 minute, whether it's on mute or not, if it auto plays on your TV or not, if you watch 1 minute of any NBA game on any platform ever, then you're counted as one of those views. So, and then they also combine international views with domestic views. And so it's just a garbage stat because it doesn't really tell you much. It tells you sort of your reach. It tells you like the penetration you have into different platforms, how many people have clicked and seemingly clicked on purpose, or how many auto plays actually made it to a minute before people turned it off. And that kind of lets you know how your placement of your banners or your the thumbnail, the tile for the game or for your program, how that did on, say, Apple TV versus how it did on Prime or how it did on whatever.
Right.
That's all that's useful for. That's not actual viewership. Nobody uses that for viewership, like baseball, hockey, the Olympics, was it football, college football? Nobody uses that because that doesn't tell you anything about actual viewers at all. It's the most garbage nonsense stat. Even video game companies don't use, like, nobody uses that, but they tried to wrap it up as like, oh, look, 170 million people are watching this. This is amazing. And it's just like as if 30% of the planet or 40% of the planet turned on and was watching the NBA this year. And it's just like, what? But I've seen it. I've seen it in the comments. Like, people run with that. People just go with that. Be like, oh, NBA's back on top. Whatever. It's not. It's not even a little bit on top. Actually, the new Nielsen ratings made the NBA look even worse.
Yeah.
The new Nielsen ratings that now take into account streaming. It's called out-of-home viewership, but the new viewers stuff, the new ratings system that now includes streaming and not just cable, Actually, everybody else got a huge bump except for the NBA. The NBA actually declined more when you counted. I didn't think that. I would have thought that the NBA would have gone up a little bit and that everybody else would go up more.
Right.
But actually, everybody else went up significantly, and the NBA went the other way. He actually lost a little bit when you accounted for that. And so, like, I don't know. It's crazy to me that they can push that kind of stuff, even though the reality is the exact opposite of that. And I don't know how they get like I don't know how that's allowed. I don't think that should be legal. I don't think you should be able to tell people stuff like that.
Well, no, I agree. But I mean, yeah, I don't necessarily think there's an organization that polices that. There probably should be.
I mean, there definitely are domestic ones.
Right.
I mean, you try to sell me toothpaste and tell me 9 out of 10 dentists recommend this toothpaste, and I find out that 9 out of 10 dentists actually warned everybody against it, that it kills you. Like, yeah, whoever told me that is absolutely getting in trouble.
Yes.
But somehow, I guess, I don't know. They're just allowed to. They're allowed to do that. They're allowed to falsely claim these things, or I guess falsely imply. I guess you're just misleading everybody is probably the way.
Well, so what's funny is yesterday I was actually going through on my TV and I was turning off all of the like autoplay stuff for all of the streaming services that I have. But I noticed when I was doing it, there are a few of them I can't. There's no setting option to turn off that autoplay.
Yeah.
And one of them is Peacock. And occasionally there are games that show up on Peacock. And so anytime that I have just hovered over like sports and that clip starts auto playing, I am being counted as a viewer, even though I never clicked on it.
Right. Well, it's not every time.
turn
It's
it
not
off.
it's not that it's every time that you hover over it. It's if you ever hover over it one
Right,
time
right.
at any point during the entire year, then you're officially an NBA viewer.
And yeah, that's just crazy because at no time did I ever click on it.
Yeah. But you can imagine if that's how like YouTube worked. Imagine if if YouTube thought and then started recommending based on everything you scrolled past in your feed. Like it's just
Oh
the
my
whole world would
God.
break, like the whole internet would break down. The entire digital world would break down if that was actually how anything worked.
Well,
But
and yeah, how many views, would my channel have from all of the people that just scrolled past and didn't click on it, but it
Right.
happened to start auto playing?
Actually, now that I've seen this stuff, so the impressions that you get, like how many people's feeds you appeared in, whether they clicked it or not, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're basically trying to say that their, YouTube subscriber number is actually their impressions number. That would be the way to do it. So if you have 800 subscribers, but you make 10,000 impressions at a 5% click-through rate, it's like you trying to then say that you're the biggest channel on YouTube because of that, because you have that many impressions, because 10,000 people had it in their feed, and like everybody would laugh you out of the like.
They really would.
Like no one would take that seriously. Everyone would be like, "What the hell is wrong with you? Like that's not how anything works." But somehow, I see it. I see it in the comments. The NBA people are like, "Oh, viewership's up. You don't know what you're talking about." Da, 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 da. Okay, fine. But I can't imagine that anybody saying that, themselves actually watches NBA games. That's the irony of the whole thing.
No, I would have to agree. John Freeman, what's up? Yeah, the fact that that's counted is just well, and so do you think it's excuse me, pandering to NBA fans? Like we already know they don't do their own research. They don't have any level of critical thinking or put any level of reason and logic into it. So if they show them that number, they're not thinking about it. They're not questioning it. Like anyone with any amount of reason or intelligence is going to look at that number and be like, that's not real.
Yeah.
So like, who are they presenting that number for is the question. Like, I don't think it's impressing anyone.
No, I don't. I honestly take that and it's a small thing, to be fair, but I do take it as a sign that the cultural sort of relevancy of the NBA is now down, and that they're now kind of aware of it and trying to sort of message against that.
Yeah.
Because that's that's sort of we talked about this before. That's kind of the issue with building a shallow fan base. If you have a shallow fan base that is only watching clips and highlights and they're not really engaged, they're not really watching the games, they're not really getting familiar with the context, they're not having sort of, like you said, like, in-depth arguments or intense conversations about it. If they're not really invested in it, it's just that is what is cool, that is what is culturally relevant. I feel like I'm, in part of something that is big, that is the cool thing to be a part of.
Sure.
The problem with having a shallow fan base built on that is that as soon as something else becomes more relevant, as soon as there's a shiny thing somewhere else that is cooler to like or that is cooler to be into, they start pouring over there. They start going over there immediately.
Yeah.
Because they weren't actually that interested in the game. They weren't that interested in the actual thing. They were only interested in the appearance of knowing about the thing.
Absolutely.
It's like, I don't want to be out of touch with the culture kind of thing. But as long as that works until you're not that relevant, like eventually you extract so much from your fan base and you lose and shed so many people. Eventually they go elsewhere.
Absolutely.
So, and I think you're seeing that. I actually think we're seeing that with the NFL. For example, the NFL has made massive gains in the last few years. They finally sort of crossed the barrier, and now women are now like the fastest growing demographic for the NFL. They have now reached sort of that level. And once that happens, by the way, that's the next like most culturally relevant thing. Mostly because I don't want to get too far into that, but they spend the most money. It tends to be what happens. Women at that age tend to be the most valuable demographic for advertisers. So whichever platform has the most of that, advertisers will pour the most money into.
Absolutely.
And so that gets, all that money then translates into a lot more reach, a lot more hype, a lot more stuff. So the NFL crossed that barrier a few years ago. So now they're, skyrocketing up. Baseball banning the shift, banning or implementing the pitch clock. They've been skewing younger and younger year over year, growing enormously. So I think everything else basically is growing taking a lot of the relevance away. I don't think the NBA is keeping up. Their focus abroad and their lack of interest in the domestic fan base, I think, is finally catching up with them, and now they're starting to message against that. Like, no, guys, we're still the cool one. We're still really important. Look, actually, even more people are coming here. We're growing. You don't want to leave the thing that's important, right? Like that's what that reads to me, is like a desperate sort of thing.
Well, no, I imagine it probably is. However, I will say that I think the NFL is building a shallow fan base, because if you look at their viewership, if you look at the individuals that are invested, it's becoming a lot like the NBA, where it's what's happening around the league. It's not what's happening on the field. They've
Sure,
had to change the talking points, because they no longer have a Brady that's doing incredible things. They now have, I don't know, I can't even remember any of the fucking quarterbacks' names because I don't care anymore. It's the game is not quality. And all of the real sports fans that I know, of which I know many, they don't watch basketball anymore. They don't watch football anymore. Like,
yeah.
I will say a lot of them has started gravitating towards baseball again.
Fantastic.
And thank God, because baseball is actually the one carrying the fucking torch for sports, as far as, hey, we reached this dark point where it got really bad and we may have killed our league, and we're coming back from it and doing it in a good way.
Yeah, I mean, I'm hot on baseball. I watch a lot of baseball games. I like baseball. Unfortunately, I'm a Red Sox fan, so this year is absolutely garbage. But that's all right. That's okay. We'll figure it out, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But regardless, I think that doesn't surprise me. I don't really watch a lot of NFL, But it doesn't surprise me at all that if the shallower fan base has been moving over there over the last several years, that eventually, the game will become shallower to appeal to that new fan base. Like that makes sense.
It has.
So, but I mean, it's I see more football jerseys and baseball jerseys than I ever see. We joked about this. I don't see basketball jerseys anymore. I see
Ever.
very, very few.
Almost never.
So I go, when I go to like the bigger cities and stuff and some of the major markets, I still don't see very much of that.
Nope.
Like it's just not, it doesn't seem to be that relevant. You don't see it in a lot of stuff. Nobody's really talking about that kind of stuff. So
No, I think it's because sports in general, like I've always said, and I genuinely believe that sports is a reflection of our society. When our society is doing well, for some reason, sports does really well. When our society is weak, for some reason, sports are very weak. And it's been that way throughout history. It's not
sure.
a recency thing, it's an all-time thing. It's, it's that whole quote of, good times create weak men create bad times create strong men. Like I can't remember exactly what the quote is.
Yeah.
But that's exactly what it is. And the reality is we're in an incredibly weak time in our society, in sports, in the world on a collective whole. How the fuck do we dig ourselves out of that? The reality is it gets so bad that people have to toughen the fuck up. That's just the way that it's happened throughout history. And go ahead.
Say it's an interesting chicken and the egg. I don't know if if the NBA did this to the fan base or the fan base did this to the NBA. I'm not sure.
I mean, it is. It's one of those questions that you can't really answer, or you can make a legitimate argument for both.
Yeah, but what I know is I turn the game on and it's garbage, and I end up turning it off. That's what I know.
Well, and that's just the reality. And I think the viewership shows it. Is people are disinterested, and I mean, I'm not sure if you're familiar with the movie The Last Boy Scout.
No.
It's an absolutely fantastic movie from the 90s with Bruce Willis and Damon Wayans and Halle Berry, and you should absolutely watch it, especially if you love 90s action movies. But the owner of the football team is talking about it. And the entire point of like his evil plan is to legalize sports gambling because the game is boring. Fans are disinterested and they're changing the fucking channel. Like that's a quote from the movie.
Oh, that's perfect.
So I think you should watch it because I think you'd get a lot from it. Like not only is it a good action movie, but it's talking about bribing senators. It's talking about, threatening to kill people. Like it goes in deep, but it's also like, it's a pretty cheesy, like tongue in cheek 90s action movie, but there's some deliberate messaging there. But it's true. People are disinterested and they're changing the fucking channel. They're not interested in what's happening on the court. So there has to be something else to wrap them up in. So it's why we constantly hear about the Jordan versus LeBron debate. Absolutely fucking no one believes that it's a debate. It's not. But just like in politics, it's classic misdirection. If we can have your attention over here and have you individuals hating each other, you won't be aware or paying attention to all the devious shit we're doing over here.
I think so. I mean, I think that makes sense. But I don't know. I think it's just garbage at the end of the day, and most people just aren't watching it. Like they can try to do that. They can try to do all the debates they want. They can try to, dilute the concept of greatness. If everybody's the greatest ever, then what does it even mean? Like, what does it even mean to be great anymore? Like that kind of stuff. Like they can do all that, but I don't think any of that's bringing anybody back. I don't think that's going to increase the value. And that's the shitty part, I think, is that, and I talked about it, my first video was sort of outlining some of this. Part of how that model has changed is that the broadcast rights, the broadcast deals that fund the league, they're now over a decade long.
Yeah.
Like if everybody stopped watching tomorrow, everybody in the league, all the players, everybody would still get paid the same amount of money all the way through, I think it's 2035. So the negotiations start, 2033 and 34.
Yeah.
So it's all in prep for that. So that's when they have to worry about it. So between now and then, I think they will try to increase that because that stuff is not converting as well. The demographics that they've targeted are not converting very well. Like the purchase behavior isn't changing. However many highlights they consume, or however many impressions they get, or all the bullshit, they're not spending as much money, and you're limited on how many whales you can get to spend that money.
Sure.
International viewership, helps offset that, and it probably will be an overall gain, but not to the specific streaming platforms. Though they've already gotten what they wanted.
Right.
So
Right.
so the value of keeping it is going to be hard to make that value go up. And if if anybody knows anything about CEOs, value doesn't go up. That's the end of the CEO. Like that's the end of that.
For
Like
sure.
that's the mandate. Make the value go up. Number go up good. Number go down bad is the only rule. So either Adam Silver is going to have to figure out something to try to bring things more, bring more fans back to the game, or find a way to convert the fans they have into money, how to monetize them in some other way that we can't even imagine yet. Or I don't think that'll go very well. Or I think those rights deals will decline, and then I think that would be the end of Adam Silver. I think that's it.
Well, no, I think so. And if, especially as those contracts or deals are coming to their end date, which what I think the deal with NBC is 11 years or something.
Yeah, I think all of them are actually. That's the rights window. So
Gotcha.
NBC, Amazon, all of them are locked in for 11 years.
So when, especially as that window is closing and that money is no longer going to be guaranteed, I hope that they're going to be forced to make changes, because if they haven't, there's no way those companies are re-signing those contracts.
No, and he's already hinted at it. I think Adam Silver's already hinted at it, uh, which is why I see like that little bullshit 170 million new viewers or whatever. Uh, that's what I see all that as kind of part of the same thing, that they're starting to message against that. They're starting to try to bring that back. I think that was part of NBC's plan, even though it's funny, NBC is actually losing an enormous amount of money on the NBA right now.
Yeah.
It was not a good bet initially, but it has to pay off over 11 years. They can
Right.
take the loss, as long as in the end they gain. They'll be fine. They'll be happy about it. But initially, it's horrible for them. Like even bringing Jordan back. Imagine you pay $40 million to bring Jordan back, and it barely moves the needle for you. Like people are just not
Yeah.
interested. They had a huge early spike. First quarter that the NBA was back on NBC, they had a big spike, and then after that, just steady back down, just steady
Well,
down.
and I hate to say this, but Jordan didn't help them.
No, I think it made
I
it
was gonna
worse.
say, with some of his weak ass takes and his glazing of this modern era, it pissed me off. Like, regardless of how I feel about him as a player, does not mean he cannot change my interpretation of him now,
Sure.
as a man, as you're the greatest of all time. I have an expectation for you, especially as the man who constantly took shit personally. How come
I
you're
think
not taking anything personally now?
I think it was just a huge mistake to, before I watch a modern NBA game, remind me that Michael Jordan existed and remind me
Yes.
about how great
It's a
basketball
terrible
was,
business
and then
model.
start the new game. Like that's the wrong setup.
Absolutely.
I
Because all
don't.
you did was made me think of great basketball as the preface. And then what I'm going to watch is not, it's a disappointment anyway, but it's certainly not going to live up to the expectation or the reminder you just put into my head.
That's what I think. I think you're better off, putting that out there as like a consolation after the game. I think that would have made more sense. But you know, that's that.
Yeah.
But I think the hope that I have is you have two collective bargaining agreements between now, well, really one in between that can be meaningful to the next rights deal, and then one close to the rights deal. So that one, won't help as much. But you still have, what I expect to happen is as these older stars age out, as these guys actually do retire, LeBron if he ever retires, but as KD and so as these guys go, they're the ones who have had all the leverage to resist any kind of reining in on the sort of player empowerment
Absolutely.
stuff for stars. The role players are already against a lot of this stuff. They've been, I've talked about it before. They've been screwed the most. So when we say that, like, oh, NBA players are empowered, there's like 15 guys that are empowered. Everybody else is screwed. But those guys that are screwed are already against it. They've already voted against it. They've already been, interested. They've already been very supportive of things that the owners have been trying to go for. But those 15 guys or 30 guys command so much leverage, so much media power. They command so much, sort of power within the system that they're able to actually resist a lot of these changes. A lot of the things that fans want, they don't want it. So it kind of doesn't happen. But so as they age out, I think you won't have as much of the resistance within the players' union. And then I think we'll start to see actual changes. Probably the 2028 agreement next year is going to be the big debate about it, but 2028 agreement will probably do that. So I expect to see, and Adam Silver himself has hinted at it too. That we may have, what do you say? That we may have overcorrected, we may have overdone it. Against defense. Now, I don't believe him for a minute because, you can tell the refs to start calling shit. You can tell the refs to stop calling stupid things.
It's a simple fix.
You can start fixing that now by enforcing the rules you have correctly. You can start doing that. You're not doing that now. I don't know the reason for that. Maybe there's still pushback from those stars. Maybe he's still scared of that. Maybe, I don't know what he thinks. But as those guys retire, I totally expect to see more defense-focused rules trying to up the defense or allow for more physicality that the stars currently and for the last 15 years have, been vehemently against having that level of physicality.
Sure.
So,
which is funny because they've basically outlawed it. They can say, "Oh, I like physical defense. I like the contact." Well, you can say that because it's not on the court. So you can say what you think people want to hear.
Right.
But you're not having to prove it. So what's the point? But I absolutely think that you're right. I think those guys, because also how much money do those 15 guys control within the league? Joel Embiid has made $500 million off of his NBA career and has never played 70 games and has never made it to the second round of the playoffs.
Oh, I really wish I was able to get this stupid video out before our live. Please watch, please watch the videos. I'll have it up like within an hour when we're done here, but I'm so close to getting it up. But Joel Embiid is in there. Joel Embiid is one of the main guys. Like, you would not believe the amount of money this guy has been able to make because of his missing games, because of load managing.
That's crazy.
It's so gross. You talk about the $500 million he made, in contracts while load managing all that. He made even more, or I wouldn't say even more, potentially even more, actually, if you really add it all up. But either way, he made an additional 20 to 30% of his total contract on top of that, just in endorsements alone that came as a result of load managing.
That is crazy.
So
real quick, let me just put you on hold for a second because I meant to do this at the beginning and I apologize that I didn't. But I think we actually have the most viewers that we have now, so I want to take advantage.
Go for it.
Please check out Pineapple Midrange's channel. It's at Pineapple Midrange. He is going to post a video like probably within an hour after this. So absolutely go check out his channel. like and subscribe. If you support me, you will absolutely love him. Do it. Now go ahead.
That's far too kind, but thank you. Thank you very much. But yeah, I mean, if you're interested in this kind of stuff, the money side of this shit, the corrupt side of this stuff, then I hope you'll like it. But
So,
yeah, so
real quick, Mark Book just said, so there are incentives to load manage. You
yes,
absolutely need to check out at Pineapple Midrange because he's going to be talking all about that. Like the incentives to not play are fucking crazy.
it's gross. It's completely disgusting. But yes, you will make more money if you load manage than if you don't. And there's a bunch of names that they didn't load manage and their brand value just tanked before. And that's the main thing. I'll give you. So I guess I can just tease that. My goal was to have it up before we went live. I wanted to have it up in the morning. I was kind of aiming. I'm trying to do kind of morning to noon releases. But we had some technical difficulties last night, and then taking my wife to work ended up taking much longer this morning than usual. So I wasn't able to get it up. I'm like an hour away from being done.
Right.
But so at least to tease it anyway, I guess to tease some of it. So for players that didn't load manage, but were sort of had crazy amounts of hype early on, their brand value tanked before their performance tanked. Which is kind of crazy to think about, right? Like
that's insane to think about.
They didn't actually get worse before their brand value went down, like before their endorsement value went down. Like they were still getting kind of the same contracts. They were still putting up the same amount of points. They were still doing as well. They were still, they were still performing at the same level that got them all the hype in the first place. But then their brand value went down because they ended up kind of racking up too many. They got a bad narrative, and they racked up too many clips, too much stuff on social media of losing to so-and-so or getting beat by so-and-so or whatever. When if they had load managed it, if they had, carefully chosen their matchups, if they had sat out more, if they had skipped the tough assignment, if they were doing stuff like that on and off the court, then they could have maintained this, transcendent when healthy narrative.
Right.
And then their brand value maintains, even if their performance sucks, like even if they fail to do something or they fail to beat someone or anything like that, as long as they can protect the transcendent when healthy narrative, their endorsement value keeps going up, even as the failures on the court add up.
Wow.
So yeah, it's stuff like that is just so incredibly disgusting to me. That's just like, how is it that you have incentivized great players to sit down? Like, to me, the arguments of whether Embiid is better than who, or, is Embiid or Jokic or anybody, like, it doesn't even matter because they're incentivized to not find out. Like that's the reality of it. You can have all the debates you want, but all the debates are mostly about potential. All the debates are what would happen if these guys faced each other. Now, we can debate all day long what would happen if Jordan faced, Wilt Chamberlain or something, right? Or if Oscar Robinson had matched up against Larry Bird. Like, we can talk about, matchups that didn't happen because of time. But we shouldn't be having theoretical conversations about theoretical matchups when all those players are currently playing. Like, that doesn't make any sense. Like, why would we need to rely on a theoretical matchup? And then all the load management ends up cutting both ways. If the guy does really well, right? Like, oh, amazing that he did really well when he had, 20 games of extra rest that his opponents or his teammates didn't have. Well, he's leading the team. Well, he better be leading the team. He's the only one who got to sleep. You know what I mean? He's the only one who got to rest. Everybody else is tired, man. Like, they played 75 games. This guy only had to play 55 games. Like, that's not fair. So, like, you better be dominant when you're out there. Jesus. But then,
go ahead. Sorry.
Well, but then, so you can say it that way, right? That, like, well, that's because, he load managed, so he was super rested. So that's obviously, why he's so, that's why he was so good, but my guy did better. Whatever. But then you can also go the other way, and they do, and then you go the other way with the same exact player, where you can say that, like, oh yeah, it didn't, oh, but he lost this, or he lost against this guy, or he lost against that team, or they didn't make it to the second round, or they didn't make it to the finals, or whatever. Well, yeah, but that's because he was injured, though. Because he missed so many games because he was injured. That wasn't a good year. That's not a fair comparison. So we just got to keep up these theoretical matchups forever because nobody's actually healthy to play each other. And then when they're on the fucking court, sorry, I don't mean to get too pissed off, but yeah, no, it's your channel. That's fine. No, when you're on the fucking court, then you're standing around and avoiding. I don't know if anybody went. Shout out to AOH. Go watch AOH's breakdown on Patreon of the 2018 finals. He posted it, I think, this past week. And it's incredible, quarter by quarter and stuff. But you can literally see these guys avoiding each other on the court. Like, forget about the load management off the court. You're on the court and you refuse the tough defensive assignment. You refuse to even participate in half the plays. You stand in the corner. You stand by back court, right? You're not trying to block anybody. You're just chilling. And then all the stoppages that are happening in the game. I mean, these guys are load managed while they're actually playing.
Yes.
Never mind the 20 games that they miss.
When they're on help defense and their defense helps absolutely fucking no one.
Yeah. So it's just absurd to me. But, and that would be one thing if, like, well, that's the society we're in now and that's the stars that we have and whatever. But it gets gross when they make more money doing that. When you're actually incentivized to play like that and you're incentivized to sit out, like, I don't know, you got to call bullshit at some point. Like, at some point, this isn't professional sports.
For sure.
Like, the separation between an amateur athlete and a professional athlete is that a professional athlete gets paid to play, whereas an amateur does not. Right?
Right.
Okay, if an amateur athlete doesn't get paid to play and a professional athlete gets paid to specifically sit out on the bench and not play, how can you call it a professional sport?
It's true. By the very definition, it's not.
At a certain point, you have amateur sports and then you have high paid amateur sports. I don't know, you're literally paying them to not play. Not you're paying them, but they're not playing. You are paying them specifically to play. If they start playing, you will pay them less. So, I don't understand how you can have a system like that and be fine with it. And we're all just going to pretend that this is the greatest era of it. No, it's not. Maybe it is. And that's the sick part of it. Maybe it is. They do have better trainers. They do have better athleticism. They do have access to all this, crazy tech. And, you got lasers, now measuring every square millimeter of somebody's, and looking at their release timing, the release point, the velocity, the spin rate, access to crazy technology and crazy analytics that, no era before them had, that can help them improve their game. Maybe this is actually the greatest league in the history of leagues. Maybe this is actually the greatest roster of players. We'll never know because they're paid not to play it.
Yes, because they never fucking play.
If they're not going to play it, who cares? I would rather go watch guys at the rec league go at it because at least they're fucking trying. At least they're playing the game. What point do I have to watch a bunch of guys not play and then argue about which one of them would have been better had they played? Who cares? I don't care who would have been better if they had played. I care about who was better, who played.
Yeah, who actually did.
So I don't know. It's so gross. This is why it's a video, because these are the topics that get me the most riled up.
Right.
So I'm gonna try to kind of stay calm there. But it's just crazy.
It's funny because I so enjoy it when people get pissed. When Jim gets pissed, when Sports and Fitness Rants get pissed, and you can tell when they're genuinely pissed because they're individuals that don't typically swear and they start dropping F-bombs. That's when I love it, because that's when I can tell the fucking passion has come out. They're like, fuck this. You're ruining something I fucking love.
It's worse than that, though. Here, you want to know what pisses me off? This is the part of it. This is why I get pissed about it. This would be fine. I would be fine with it. You want to have that league? That's how you want to do this thing? That's fine. But why am I supposed to pay more money for it?
Yeah.
That's the part that really gets me. So you built it like this. You pay them not to play. I don't know if they're going to play or not before I buy a ticket or before I buy a subscription or before I pay for it. Like, I don't have any idea if they're actually going to play or not. I'm totally like, forget about gambling on their performance. I'm gambling whether they're going to play. Every time,
And it's a
anytime that
bet.
you renew your subscription to Peacock or to Prime or to whatever the hell, ESPN, YouTube TV, whatever you use, whenever you want to go buy a ticket, especially if you want to go buy a good ticket, you want to take your kid to the game, you want to go with your wife, you want to go with your work friends, you want to go do a thing, you have to pay more money and you're totally gambling on whether you're even going to get to see the thing that you're paying for. Because on the other side, they're taking that money, giving it to your favorite player specifically so that he doesn't play.
So
And it's
this
like,
is
how
what
can I pay a ticket to see a player and you give that money to that player and tell him not to play in exchange for that money? Like, what kind of perverse, backwards, idiocracy kind of world did we like stumble into in the NBA? Like, how does this? I don't. It's just so insane to me. And so it bothers me. And then it bothers me when I see, Richard Jefferson on team, when I see Van Gundy on there, when I see,
yes.
when I see Reggie Miller, I just get furious. Like, when you're trying to tell me this is the greatest, can you believe what can I believe? Can I believe that they're sitting out? Yeah, absolutely. I can believe they're sitting out. Are you kidding me?
It's true.
You're telling me he makes, you're talking about Embiid. You're telling me he makes an extra $100 million for not playing? Yeah, I can believe he's sitting out. Absolutely, I can believe that. If you paid me $100 million, I also wouldn't play. I'm currently not playing for free.
Yeah.
Like, what? How does it make sense to pay somebody $100 million to not play? And then you got people gambling on the damn thing. And then we got to see 500 ads for why I ought to bet on these assholes. Like,
that likely aren't going to show up.
It's just such a backwards ass. It's crazy. It's crazy. So I don't know. That business model has to flame out. It has to become less profitable to do
I
that.
mean,
You have to see declining growth for a sustained period of time, and then you have to make it to the 11-year mark before it actually shows up in the valuations of those
right.
contracts. And then something will change. If they sense that that is coming, they will start to make changes for that. And if it actually comes and it goes down, then they get rid of the commissioner. That's it.
Yeah.
That's the only path for that. So all we can really speculate on and debate about is what those changes might look like and how we feel about what they might be. That's really the conversation that's left to us. But that's
Yeah.
the only conversation that I think is worth a damn, because trying to actually participate in any of the bullshit that they're spewing about it, when you literally have guys paid to not play, is so pointless. So I don't know. That's all just crazy. It's crazy to me.
Well, so I absolutely fucked up last year. The last NBA game that I went to was in 1996, Sonics versus Bulls. I did not go to another game until 2024 or 2025. It was an exhibition preseason game in Seattle versus the 76ers and the Clippers. I should have fucking known when it was those two teams that I was fucked, because they're just full of fucking load managers and people that will not play for absolutely no reason. 4 starters didn't fucking play. 4. Like, and I understand it's an exhibition game. I understand it's preseason, but you are playing in Seattle to like highlight basketball in Seattle and potentially bringing a game back to Seattle. Like, so many Sonic legends were there. Like, it was a packed fucking house and 4 starters didn't play. Are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. And the sickest part of it to me, the sickest part of it, and part of why I enjoy channels like AOH and Sports and Fitness and yourself, like part of the reason I like some of this stuff is because finally, I have found other people who sort of get mad about the same thing.
Absolutely.
They're celebrated for it. They're not even shamed for it. Like, they're actually celebrated. Like, you actually have supporters of it. Like, well,
Yeah.
obviously that makes sense. Why should, of course they don't want to play. It's an exhibition. They shouldn't risk all their money or risk their value to play the sport they're paid to play. Like, then why are they there? Then why
Yeah.
are they in the building? Why are they there at all? It doesn't, like, why would you pay somebody to come and not play? I don't get it. It doesn't make sense to me. And they're shamed in almost every other sport. Like there were some guys who, they were questionable for anybody who's into the World Baseball Classic this year, and every year. But every year we go through this, or sorry, not every year, every 3 years. But every World Baseball Classic we go through this, where some pitchers, especially pitchers, because I don't know, pitchers are babies, but uh, most pitchers will, or not most, I shouldn't say most. Let me calibrate here. Some pitchers, and then occasionally some other players, will express some concern, or their agents will express concern over whether or not they're going to play, or how many innings they're going to play, or that kind of thing, because they're worried about risking injury, or they're worried about, like, their sort of financial side of it. But in the end, there ends up being so much shame about it, and people gets like the fan bases get so mad about it, that eventually it's like, okay, well, your brand value is actually going to hurt even more if you don't show up. Like, because then fans aren't going to be into you. You're going to get a reputation for being soft. You're
Right.
going to get a reputation, like, it's not going to go well for your thing. So financially, it's actually better if you show up, and then you don't have to pitch the whole game. You don't have to give like full on effort, crazy.
Right.
But you can pitch like 2 or 3 innings, you know what I mean? And we'll cycle through you guys relatively quickly to not wear you guys out before the season. And then fans are kind of okay with that. Everybody sort of accepts that some guys are going to play super hard, other guys are going to play really hard, but just for a shorter amount of time to not be too risky. And then it's all kind of fine. So there is sort of a financial incentive from that, from the fan base, that people won't buy as many tickets to see you. People won't buy your jersey. People won't be into you
Right.
if you actually just don't show up or you sit out. You'll lose value. But for some reason in the NBA, it goes the opposite way. For some reason, the fans will support them more. The fans will champion them and say how smart it is, and how smart business that is, and how smart all this shit is, for them to not play or to not show up or to cancel on the thing. And I cannot understand why the NBA is like that, and why the league is cool with it, and why everybody's cool with it. Like, I personally think a lot of it's the player empowerment type of stuff, and the media leverage and the access media sort of system you have with player owned media, now restricting access to, traditional media. Sure. But what's the fan base's excuse? Like, no one's paying them.
No.
So, like,
But
what does a fan gain by watching their favorite player not play? What does a fan gain that they're going to defend that?
I don't know. And what's funny that this conversation has come up, because in the fanboy said what that I just posted today, I'm reading a comment and the fan is saying, why should LeBron compete in a game he knows he's going to get smoked? They're defending it.
That's what
They're
I'm
not
talking
just
about.
on board with it. They're like, no, absolutely, he shouldn't fucking play in a game that he can lose. What?
That's exactly the kind of shit I'm talking about. Like, I don't see I don't see a reason. I don't see why. It seems like such an irrational, cultist, kind of Swifty type thing to me, to say that, yeah, well, yeah, of course he shouldn't play. So like, what, are you not going to watch it then? Or like, are you going to watch it and enjoy that your favorite player is not playing? Why is
Well, I
anybody
mean,
there? Why is the event happening? Why is there
we
an exhibition
know
game?
they're
Why are
not
we
watching.
like, but then why support it? This was so crazy.
That's what I don't understand. That's where it goes into the whole fucking hero worship or whatever. Because there's no facet of the sport that's holding them to being competitors. The media gives them an excuse. The league gives them an excuse. The players give them an excuse. The fans give them an excuse. There's no fucking incentive for and again, with you talking about all of the incentives for them not to play, and then they have every excuse in the world to justify not playing, plus they're making money from it. Like you said, why the fuck is the event taking place? Why is this a thing?
I don't know,
Like,
but I know that it's
overblown.
expensive. I know that it can't last forever, because I know that it's
No,
expensive. You
no,
can't keep doing
can't.
that. So, although, frankly, Amazon is actually probably their biggest. That's why I gave Amazon. For anybody who has seen my stuff, my first video is not what all the videos are. The next one is going to be a much more smoother to produce one. But I go into I sort of laid out sort of a hokey kind of old industrial film kind of dystopian, like Fallout kind of structure, the business model of the league and how that has changed from the 90s to now. And a huge part of that, besides like the broadcast rights and all that, and the licensing plays and stuff, Amazon got its own section in that compared to the other streaming services, because Amazon is uniquely interesting, I think, in that. So they put the stuff on Prime, and anybody, just throw it out there, right? I'm curious if anybody has thought about why Amazon would put the NBA on Prime, right? Like they already have market saturation in terms of they're not getting new subscribers for the NBA.
Right.
Like
Right.
no one is going to pay, the annual price for Prime because, oh, I didn't have Prime up until now. But now that they have the NBA, well, now obviously I'm going to go ahead and get Prime. Like that's not real behavior. That's not really what's happening.
I will be right back. I'm just putting you on mute.
Go for it. So they're not really trying to gain new subscribers with that. You could argue they're maybe trying to gain some like international subscribers, but Prime doesn't work the same way internationally anyway. So I don't think that really holds a lot of water. So that's fine. But then in terms of subscriber retention, that might help a little bit. That I would have canceled Prime had they not had the NBA. Maybe there's some of that, but certainly not enough to justify paying. I can't remember what the number was. It's like $1.8 billion a year. Surely that's not enough to justify that. You're not keeping a $1.8 billion worth of people that would have otherwise unsubscribed. So the real play from Amazon is the tech. It's AWS. It's the data and streaming service that they actually provide. The goal is to have the AWS actually run the sort of infrastructure for delivering those games to everybody in the world, or to all their subscribers. And through doing that, and it's funny because I said it before it happened, and then it started happening. I started seeing articles about it where the Amazon started getting contracts with certain teams to provide AWS services for the individual teams. That's the NBA, that's those teams paying Amazon to do that. So they get the contract with Amazon. Other aspects, other areas of the league, other departments of the league start signing their own contracts to pay Amazon to deliver those kinds of web services. It's a huge portfolio piece. And they go and they use the prestige of that. Oh, look, we deliver all of these professional games for all the biggest sports networks, for all the biggest sports leagues in the world. We deliver them to X number of households, because whether you watch it or not, it's on the front title screen. So they can say that they delivered it to, whatever it is, a billion people on Earth. And that makes it very easy for them to say, so of course we can handle your government agency's data. Of course we can handle AWS for your bank. Of course we can handle it for your, stockbroker, firm and stuff. Of course we can do it. So they end up making trillions of dollars.
Sorry about that.
It's all right, but they end up making trillions of dollars off the data contracts that they're able to get off of the sort of portfolio showpiece. And their cost of doing it is offset by the league literally paying them back in reverse to provide all those data services and AWS around the league. So it's just, that's totally unique to Amazon. And there's some other tech companies that have kind of similar arrangements, although on a much smaller scale. And so it's just stuff like that that's just like, oh my God, the lifeline that throws to this garbage, because there's less incentive then to change it. You can weather the storm. If fans stop buying tickets, or if the stuff starts to go down, you can at least weather that and stay stable for a while.
Yeah.
Whereas in the 90s, I talked, you should just go watch my first video. But whereas in the 90s, those same deals lasted for like 1 to 2 years and were only $500 million. Like there was no 11-year anything. There wasn't $1.8 billion. There wasn't like these major tech plays for this. You couldn't use it as like a loss leader to then get trillions in government contracts around the world.
Right.
Like the game had to be good. Like, okay, this year or for the next 2 years, we're going to pay $500 million because, you have this audience, because they're happy about the game. If the following year the audience goes down, the ratings go down, well, then we're not going to renew at $500 million because the audience went down. So now we're going to renew at $400 million. Right. We're going to renew at $400 million. And so that kept everybody having to deliver good basketball. The rules were, for to incentivize what fans liked. The media coverage was on players that fans liked, players that earned sort of the fan appreciation, especially locally. You know what I mean? Like Mookie had a great, Mookie Blaylock had a great career.
Yeah.
You think of guys like Muggsy Bogues and even Craig Elo. Like these guys had great careers because they were hometown heroes, because the cities liked them, the fan base liked them where they were. They spent money, they watched the games, and so the guy's still valuable. Whereas now, with all that ridiculous money, it doesn't matter if the ratings go down. Like that's okay. If the ratings go down, oh, we can weather it, we can change it slowly, we can negotiate all these things, we can deal with all this bullshit because our money is secure. We don't actually have to deliver great basketball for it. And it's just so disappointing. It's just so sad. It's just sad. It's just sad to think about what that has done. So it can't last forever, but I think it's insane that it happened at all.
Well, absolutely. And I mean, it's not a short-term contract. 11 years is, even though a few years of it have passed, it's a long time from now.
It is.
So it's not going to change anytime soon as long as those, deals are in place.
Yep. I mean, and that's why it's a long game now. So we got to wait to see what happens, with the 28 collective bargaining agreement, what rules they'll change. Personally, I think they will bring back some level of physicality. I don't know if it'll bring back hand checking directly, but something will happen to improve that. I expect something, at least in name, to improve that. Whether or not they enforce anything, fucking knows.
Well, right. I mean, yeah, they have to change the officiating.
Right. And then the game will take a while to sort of catch up to that, and like the
For
players won't be immediately ready for that. So that'll take a few years to do. But I expect probably 10-minute quarters. We talked about that before.
Yeah.
I expect 10-minute quarters to kind of have some level of parity with Europe, since they're going to have NBA Europe. Probably have the two products both be 10-minute quarters. So I expect for some things like that, but I mean, frankly, the majority of it, I think, is already in Adam Silver's hand. He has the button, I think, sitting on his desk. You know what I mean? Like, you have that meeting with the refs and you let them know, like, start enforcing the shit we already have. We don't need a whole lot of new rules.
Right.
We need you to enforce the ones that you already have, or we need you to, enforce them differently. Like this, any player can pump fake and then just kind of nudge you, and it's a foul on the defense. Like, what is anybody supposed to do? Like,
Right.
So you already have the ability to do that. You know what I mean? Like, you don't need a CBA for this. Just start calling it. Just start calling the fucking thing, or call charges. Jesus Christ, if they would just call charges, if just anybody would get called charge ever. It's just so gross, and stop calling it differently for different people. Like, so those kinds of options are already available. I don't know why he doesn't press that button yet. I can only assume that the players, that the big stars that are still in the league have enough leverage.
Right. There's just too much pushback against it.
That's what I would guess, because you don't see that from the role players. That's why I think that, because you don't see it from the other players. Like I said, player empowerment empowered like 30 people. The other 425, 420 people, they voted against it. They voted against that business model. So, I mean, they're not on the same page. So, you hope for that. You hope that when enough of these guys go, hopefully then the model will change. Hopefully, they'll start enforcing things differently. Hopefully they'll start addressing that to try to increase the fan base, or increase the value of that fan base ahead of the next rights deal. That's what we have to hope for. But that's like a 7-year process. Like,
Well, right.
That's going to
No,
take
absolutely.
too fucking long. I don't want 7 years of garbage until you finally panic enough to throw me a little bone. I want a good game now.
Well, so one of the things that bothers me the most, and it certainly feeds into this, is they didn't change the rule book. They just changed the officiating. You can still look on NBA's website, and when they talk about assists or offensive fouls or travels, It's the exact same as it was in the 80s and 90s. They just don't call it the same.
Yep.
I wouldn't have as much of a problem with it if they said, we're going to change the rule book and this is how the game is played now. Then I can make the decision whether or not that's a product I want to be a part of. But you didn't change anything. The game should still be the same game that it is in the 80s and 90s. Okay, maybe even minus hand checking and having the 3-second rule. There was still defense being played after those two changes, but there's not anymore because they've basically outlawed it.
You know what's funny? This is I think, and I gotta get to this video pretty soon here.
But
So,
yeah, I have like 5-10 more minutes and then I gotta go.
But so I think that might be a good kind of thing to close out on. An interesting thing about that, the getting rid of the 3-second, or sorry, putting in the 3-second rule. Part of the reason that they did that, if you can believe it, is to cut down on stoppages, cut down on fouls, cut down on free throws. There's too much, at that point you had really aggressive, everybody started kind of modeling the Michael Jordan thing.
Right.
So you had a lot of perimeter guys and suddenly ball handlers were really sort of the big deal to try to drive in rather than, just, two post-ups, right? Instead of Shaq and Hakeem going at it, everybody's trying to be Michael Jordan and drive through it. You get, Allen Iverson and, then Kobe Bryant and people driving through all this stuff. So it's too many fouls. The game is stopping too often. The pace is kind of slowing down because, these guys are just, driving into traffic and we got to stop to have free throws about it. So that was the original logic, was that whatever it does to the game, it'll be fine because it will cut down dramatically on free throws and we can keep a better pace going and a better flow of the game. And it's like, what a fucking backfire that was. Like, Jesus, that only works if you stop calling every stupid thing, or you know what I mean? Like, if you start rewarding flopping, you blow the whistle when a player flops all the time. And never mind just like the ticky-tack fouls, even that I can kind of understand, but complete phantom fouls that didn't happen at all, or guys flopping, or like these intentional sort of baiting things. Like, I don't mean just like foul baiting, like what people complain about with SGA. I mean literally like the little pump fake and then give them a nudge with your shoulder and then, oh, stop the game. Everybody stop. Nobody can, we can't keep watching the game. We got to stop and address this. Guy needs to take some free throws. Like, you actually have more stoppages now, despite making a rule to cut down on play that fans liked in order to increase the pace of the game. Now the game actually takes longer, has more stoppages, and you've lost the thing, the gameplay that fans liked. Yeah. And it's just like, I could buy it if you actually sped it up. Like, if you actually didn't stop it all the time and let these guys play, then okay, yeah, I would prefer it if it was more, kind of the old way. But okay, I can maybe get behind the new ways, better flow. Sure, maybe there's an argument there. But then you blow the whistle for all this bullshit every 5 seconds, and you have like 3-minute commercial breaks all the time. Like, the time of the game actually didn't end up moving. It's still about 2 hours and 20 minutes, 2 hours and 15 minutes.
It did.
So like, what did we gain here? Nothing happened. You just made it worse and then kept the bad thing that you made it worse to fix. So now it just is worse. It's the same and then also worse.
Yeah.
So I just think that's crazy. I just think that's so stupid. But it bothers me that, like I said, you don't need a rule change. You don't need a CBA. You don't need 7 years. You don't need rights deals. You don't need business models. You don't need any of that shit. Just call it, call it the way you meant to call it. Call it the way that the rule book says, or change the fucking rule book. I mean, how many videos have we seen from, AOH looking at the actual words in the rule book, showing the literal from NBA.com example. Yeah. This is what an illegal screen is. This is what a travel is. This is what double dribble is. This is what is supposed to be an assist. And then you literally look at the game and you see all of the things that are on the NBA's official thing, and none of them are called, or they're calling a bunch of random shit. And it's just like, you could fix that tomorrow. Like, you could wake up tomorrow morning and just, okay, guys, call it the way the book is, and we're done with it. You could just do that. There's nothing structurally that is stopping you. There's no rule. You don't need a vote. Doesn't matter. You just do it, and they won't do it.
No,
and to
I
me,
agree.
that's just, you're a pussy. You're a pussy. Like, you're just too scared. You're scared of what those guys are going to say, or what the media is going to say, or whatever. Whatever it is you're scared of, they're scared of something because there's nothing otherwise stopping them.
Well, because obviously the players are afraid of that because it's going to hurt their brand. I was going to say your ability to score the way that you score is going to suffer. You will not be able to score at the same level. You will not be able to, quote unquote, have the handles that you have because those handles are illegal.
Yeah.
You're not going to be able to set the moving screens. Everything in the game, the only hindrance is the players. If they changed it today and started calling it the way that it is in the rule book, like even though they added that gather step bullshit that I, posted the link in the chat, even if they continue to allow that, the game will almost change overnight. And it's not going to change for the better. It's going to get worse because the players are going to have to learn how to actually play basketball because they're not going to get away with all of that bullshit. So it's going to hurt the game, but in the long term, it will produce a better product.
I think so. That's exactly what I think. I think, you're not, so if you make it a little bit worse, or if you make it a lot worse, let's assume the extreme. If they make it a ton worse by just overnight changing all of that stuff and just calling it how it's supposed to be and enforcing it the way it says, and then half the league couldn't handle it, and half the league suddenly was getting called all the time, and it was, depressing, whatever, all that stuff. Okay, it's not going to be a whole lot worse than what we're watching now. I don't,
No.
I don't think it's that big of a hit. And hey, aren't you in luck? You have these streaming deals that last for 11 years. You have $1.8 billion a year. It doesn't matter. So the idea that we can't do that because, the ratings will go down. Ratings are already going down. Ratings have been going down. Ratings have not gone up. Like ratings are down. What is it like? Depending on where you market from and how you look at it, it's anywhere from like 60 to 83%. Like there's no math that comes in under 60%. So like, well, that ship has sailed. You might as well, you know what I mean? Like at a certain point, you kind of start to flirt with like the accelerationism sort of idea. Just make it absolutely garbage and then it will fix. Because you can weather the storm. That's why you have that business model. You specifically did that so that you can decouple the basketball that's on the court and the money you make from how fans feel about it. If fans are dissatisfied, you keep making money. That was the whole idea. So you can't use fan dissatisfaction as a reason to not fix it then.
Right.
Like that's the whole point.
They bought themselves a safety net.
Right. If you're going to have the safety net, use it.
As a safety net. Exactly. Fucking use it.
So,
the reality is self-improvement requires self-destruction. It has to get worse before it gets better. Whether you're talking about yourself as an individual, whether you're talking about yourself as an organization, it has to get worse before it gets better.
Yeah, the problem is it is currently getting worse, but without getting better. It's just getting worse without the getting better part.
And there's no long-term resolution. Like if we change the rules tomorrow, it will improve in time. It may even be garbage the rest of the playoffs and the finals. It may be garbage the entirety of the next season until they finally start to figure it the fuck out, or until those players give up and quit because they can't do it anymore and they find new players. Like there could be a year and a half, 2 years of it just being garbage, but it will improve. It's guaranteed the product will improve. There's no guarantee the product is going to improve now. In fact, it's basically a guarantee it will continue to get worse.
I mean, that's what I think. That's what I think the trajectory they're on is, I think, in my opinion, it is a continued slow and painful decline year over year over year over year until eventually it is so, sort of abysmal that it actually affects their larger business model, and then that necessitates change. And what I don't understand is why wait? Why would you wait for that? Like, just start doing it now. Start doing it last year. Start doing it 5 years ago. Like, what is the holdup? Like, we always used to give shit to, my whole life. Everyone's always given shit, and my dad's life and his dad's life. Everybody's always giving shit to baseball for taking forever to update rules that are clearly broken. Like
Yes.
that's if ever anybody who's watched baseball a long time, you know that's like 1,000% true. The league
Yep.
takes forever to do anything about obvious problems. And I don't mean just like fans are dissatisfied, whatever. I mean like teams are able to just abuse crazy shit, and it'll go for, well, we'll see how players respond to it. We'll see how teams
Right.
respond to it for like 5 years before they actually, oh, okay, that's actually not good. And the shift took, 10, 11 years to actually do anything about. And then the pitch clock abuse and stuff that was going on for maybe 15 years before they did. They're still making changes faster than the NBA now. The NBA used to be incredibly responsive.
There was.
Like it used to, if there was a problem, players were doing some behavior that was bad for the league or bad for business or something, they started fining people that season. They would sit people out as soon as they messed up. Like there was no joke about it how quickly that stuff was, how quickly that stuff was taken care of. Even if players, were handling it themselves, the league would still come in and do something about it immediately. So I don't know what happened that the league now takes, more than a decade, 15 years. I mean, this is going to be, let's assume they fix it in like 2030. That would be 20 years of decline before actually trying to do anything about it.
Before any type of resolution. And the league used to be, it would be immediate, it would be enforced, and it would be consistent.
Yeah.
In the past. So now, they said, oh, we're going to, start finding players for flopping.
Yeah. Well, whatever happened to that?
Absolutely fucking zero consistency in that. Oh, we're going to start finding players for load managing. Well, obviously you haven't fucking done that either. Like saying it is meaningless. If anything, all that's going to do is make more players or more fans lose respect for the game because you said you were going to address it and then you didn't.
Right. So I don't know. But
I hate to cut this off.
No. I got to get to this video because I got to leave. I got to leave the house in about an hour, and I really want to get this up for everybody.
Go. But this has been a fucking great live. I appreciate all of you guys tapping in, especially with your comments. Pineapple Midrange. We just need to start doing this more, dude. That's it.
I would love to, man. I love these chats. These chats. I don't know. You have a way of getting me. I can all heated up and all pissed off about it all over again. But
I don't think I ever heard you say fuck, and I heard you say it multiple times
because it's fucking ridiculous. Because it's so insane. There's no other word you can it's a word. It's a word for a reason. Some things merit the use.
No, absolutely. It's a sentence enhancer. It doesn't detract from anything. But chat, absolutely fucking stay tuned because Pineapple Midrange and I are going to start doing this more. We have some great plans for the future. I think you guys are going to fucking love. So keep an eye out.
I hope
and subscribe to Pineapple Midrange's channel.
Oh, well, thank you very much. I hope, if anybody's interested in that stuff, feel free. I can tell you as a little just sort of fun teaser, the video that's coming up in about an hour will feature a version of the load managers that we're talking about. Team load management versus all the old greats.
Awesome.
So there's a visual version of that I hope you guys will like.
Can't wait. All right. I will talk to you guys later and see you in the next one.
Thank you very much for having me, man. I appreciate it. And thank you, chat.
All right. Later, guys. Bye.